Welcome to another episode of Heart and Soul. And today we love to share all about balance as we have spring equinox here in the northern hemisphere. Of course, if you live on the southern hemisphere, you're entering autumn, and that's all about balance, day and night equally long. And where can we all find balance or create balance or release things that are out of balance? Welcome, balanced soul, Janet.
Good morning, everyone. This is an interesting topic because whenever I sort of started to think into it for today's episode, it kind of brought up a lot of different things. You think of the scales and sort of think of things balancing in that regard. But then when I sort of felt into it a little bit more, I felt more about it being an equilibrium, a sense of alignment, and thinking of our chakra system and the alignment and balance there for our well-being and the flow of energy. Because I remember somebody once talking about balance, and she said, "Oh, when you go talk about balance, to her it means that there's no momentum, there's no moving forward. It's like you've stopped." And I said, "I don't feel that. To me, balance is about when you're learning to ride a bicycle. If those of you can remember learning to ride a bicycle, is that you needed a very good sense of balance, but at the same time propel yourself forward." And that's sort of stuck in my head, the analogy of a bike, where you need that balance that you need to work on. Sorry, this is my dog playing with a scruffy toy. If I don't, she'll scream downstairs, so she's here with us. But I think that if it's more of that alignment, that harmony, balance within us, that allows us to then move and propel forward in that motion. What about you, Caroline? How do you, when you hear the word balance, what does it mean to you?
I mean, I love your analogy with the bike, because if you're on a bike, you can't sit there without moving forward. You only create balance by that momentum of moving. So for me, it's balance is sort of like, left and right balanced. It can also be with left and right brain balanced. It's about rest and doing, that kind of balance, because for years, more than half my life, I kept pushing, doing, and then truly feeling so tired and exhausted and then overtired, you can't rest. So rest and doing in balance, and yeah, it's like breathing in and breathing out, bringing in the fresh energy, releasing the old, like, yeah, with the harmony of the flow. And of course, male and female energy, that's
Yeah.
so important to sort of, yeah, bring that back into balance. And when I tapped into that topic today, it's also, I got the picture, because winter is more the earth energy and spring is more the airy energy. And then I saw that tree, a beautiful, deeply rooted tree, and sort of new branches with bloom out there. And the balance, it's the roots underneath the earth, deeply rooted, and up there you can spread and create new branches. But without the roots, or if the roots are very small in nature, you see that then the tree doesn't have many branches, and sort of it dies. So it needs that balance, for us to truly bloom and create and be and feel that, yeah, joy of life. I think balance is also about joy of life. And And if we are only having to do dreadful tasks, or, you know, we all clean our home, we all go grocery shopping, you know, we all have to do some tasks we don't like so much. But if we only have those kind of tasks, we never feel balanced. So a morning walk in nature, or observing a flower, taking that time for something joyful, cheerful, to fill you up, and then balance that more sort of gray everyday tasks. I think, yeah, balance comes in so many forms. And sometimes it's also about like a boat, you know, like a rowboat, you know, if it's sort of a little tilted, then the water splashes in. So yeah, it's yeah, balance of life, you know, it's sort of so important, because we can so go down an overdoing dreadful gray path, and then we never see sunshine. And yeah,
I think that's sort of like, whenever you're talking about that, I get the light and dark, and we have that within ourselves. And I think that that's an important thing, as you sort of say, is sometimes, particularly in our world at the moment, it's very easy to fall into that sort of dark side, that sort of depressive side. And you really need, as you sort of say, to top up your light side with joy, refuel that, so it balances out that energy, that dark energy. And that is also very important in our lives. You're absolutely right. There's so many aspects of balance when you start to go into it. It's really quite an interesting topic, because when you first talked about it, I thought, oh, what can you talk about balance? But then whenever you dig down into it, and I love that analogy about the tree, because I was also thinking, for our chakra system, you know, you need to start at your root chakra. Is really important to get that grounded energy, and that's like the root system connecting you down into the earth. And then as you work then to release and balance the rest of your chakra system, and I'm talking just here about the 4 main chakras, or the 7 main chakras, that it's sort of like you work your way up, and that's like your tree blossoming. So I really, really like that. That made me smile when you said about the tree. Very much.
Yeah, and I think we can all ask ourselves, and we feel that, or we know what's out of balance, you know. Sometimes, I mean, when I was a young mom, then of course my sleep pattern, my looking after myself was out of balance, because you had a newborn and you were like 200% just giving for the baby, caring for the baby. And sometimes if you have to nurse someone or look after someone, that can get a bit out of balance. And we know or feel or sense where our life is out of balance, and just realizing that and asking yourself, where do I need more balance, or what's out of balance at the moment? And then sort of, you know, just like the scale, you know, adding a little bit on the other side so it comes down. So if you're over giving, always helping others, why not help yourself? Why not fill up your jar? You know, we had an episode of joy or self-care. You know, you can do so much, and then it's more balanced. Because if you only give to others and you're always there helping, you feel drained, you feel exhausted, and then you know your system is out of balance. And just sometimes you can take a little bit off here, but also adding here, you know, just to create that balance. And yeah, it's sometimes we have those days, and then we have others. So,
and I think you're right there, is that it's our own awareness and self-awareness about our own selves, because other people won't say to you, oh, I see that, not often, but you have to look after yourself and be aware of what's right for you, and to be okay with saying, you know what, I need a day off, or I need some space to myself, or can you do this because it's too much. And I think in our society, we very much, as you sort of learn to be people pleasers, a lot of us people pleasers. We can't say no about things. We've talked about boundaries and things before, and that's really where these come into play. And it is about your energy levels and keeping yourself in a nice balanced state. And then, I mean, when your energy systems, your whole energy systems are working harmoniously and they're all flowing, your well-being, your vitality, your energy levels, you're so much more energy to give, and you radiate so much more of that positive light energy into the world. But you have to sort of like remember and become aware and become attuned to yourself and recognize, what's going on, and go, you know what? No, I need this for me, because I know ultimately it has a more positive effect for everyone around me. And it is about that balance. And I think sort of, if your job as well, that work-life balance they always talked about. Now, I know I was really bad. I worked so hard, and then the traveling on top of that. By the time I would have the life balance, there wasn't anything there to have. It was going to bed, to sleep, to do it all over again. And then come the weekend, it was like cleaning the house and doing other things. And it never felt I actually had time for me to actually relax. And then my holidays were spent traveling back home to see family. It wasn't like even going somewhere and having that downtime. So it is important you start to recognize these things, and only you can take care of you. You really do need to tune into yourself. And I know, Caroline, you know a lot about that. You know so much about helping your clients with that particular topic.
It is. And I think when we talk about balance, it doesn't have to be every day, every minute of your life in perfect balance. It's when I had my first child, and was sort of weaning it off, you always wonder about food and healthy diet and everything. And then they said, over a week, it's fine. If they only eat pasta on Monday and they have lots of veggies on the other day, it's that balance over a week or a month. It's not like every dish has to be perfectly balanced, and you can't stuff food down your toddler's throat. They pick it, they choose it, and that helped me a lot too, because we can put so much pressure, like you said, at the end of the day, and go to bed, so, I didn't, look after myself today. I'm so bad. And then we're sort of in that rhythm of talking down on us. But just thinking about, okay, today I didn't take an in-breath, sort of recharge myself. Maybe I create more time tomorrow, and see it over a week, over a month's time. Balance, not in every minute, because that can then add more stress. But it's also good to schedule some downtime, because life goes on, and at the end of the day we realize, oh, I didn't even sit down for 5 minutes and just breathe, or just had a cup of tea, or anything that sort of nurtures your heart and soul. So do more of those in small pockets throughout the day, throughout the week, and create balance.
Yeah, very important. I mean, I did end up actually, when I was working, it was the travel time when I used to get the train, I made a point of reading. And that would be my downtime. Was by the time at least I got home, I'd had that sort of shut off from what was going on at work, to clearing my head in a book that really just kind of drew me in. And then at least then the home time was home time, and I could enjoy then the space without being constantly thinking about work mode. So there are little ways that you can bring that level of balance back in, because it's not always easy. We know that, perfect world, some people do schedule a lot, but as Caroline said, sometimes then it becomes a burden rather than actually sort of freeing you up. And that's also something that you're, for balance, you need that level of like freedom, lightness, and things, once they start to feel heavy, then that's not positive. So yeah. So any other tips on balance?
My tips is always asking your heart, going within, taking a deep breath and just asking yourself what you need right now and granting that. And like you said, creating those free pockets of time where you can just be, because we are human beings, not human doings, but we're probably doing 99% of the time, and we forgot how to be, like children, just playing, just being. And yeah, learning to reconnect with yourself, allowing yourself time to just be. Even if you have a cup of coffee, maybe just enjoy that cup of coffee or tea and smell it, sort of mindfulness, smelling, feeling, and just being, breathing without having the phone next and doing 10 things. Just taking that cup of tea in peace and quiet, or sitting outside, this morning we had beautiful sunshine and I had my first coffee outside just in the sun, and it's just like, this is pure bliss, this is just amazing. 5 minutes and I felt like newborn and this is good, it's that, it's the balance of dark and light, and the balance of being and doing and anything else, that comes to mind with the word balance.
I love that. I love that. I mean, definitely. I mean, it's been a beautiful morning here. I was up early, dog walk, beautiful morning, and I just enjoyed walking past people's gardens as the sun was sort of shining, and it definitely had a spring feel about the world this morning, and it really, just breathing it in, and taking it in, like, even as you say, just the flowers. I mean, I'm a big flower person, so seeing lovely flowers in the gardens and the blossoms, and it just makes my soul sing. And that's really important, because that's fueling your energetic system in a positive way. So it's just little thing. It really can be just little moments that make the difference.
Yeah, it usually is. And sometimes, with balance, we feel, sometimes you say, okay, I work, and then this weekend I have this and this, but then maybe Easter weekend I have a couple of days off, then I can rest, or when my next vacation is coming. But that's already lowering your energy, because then you're constant stress and you're constant looking for the time you can sort of escape, and you're not living in the moment. And if you're already in that mode, step aside a bit, and just see it all, and maybe unload a little bit on the doing side and integrate a little more of being, of little vacations each day or each week, because otherwise you're gonna burn out, and that's not balance, is it?
No. We want to avoid that. And as you say, those I like that micro holidays, or like micro minutes where you can sort of just have a moment and be mindful. And I think also about, I mean, for balance as well, being in the moment, living in the present really does help with, you know, aligning yourself and finding that harmony. Because if we dwell too much in the past, we end up in that sort of more depressive state. If we are worrying too much about the future, that's anxiety. So there's really is something about just bringing yourself back, whether it's the breath, whether it's the hand on the heart, whether it's just that cup of tea and just taking a moment. That's exactly the way to do it.
And allowing yourself that time, because you are worthy. Because so often we feel we're not good enough, we don't deserve that, but we all do deserve a little break every now and then. So, thank you for another gorgeous episode, well balanced in heart and soul. And we'll see and chat again next week. So thank you so much for being here. Share with your friends, and don't forget to sign up to our workshop in about 2 weeks now, right? And or 3 weeks. It's April the 8th in the evening in Europe, and I will post the link in the comments. So looking forward to being with you and sharing more about rekindle your spark.
Exactly. And I think that what we're planning to cover in that workshop really ties in very nicely with today's topic of balance. So if you're feeling out of balance, or you're not feeling that harmony in your life, sign up, come and join us, because we're excited to be sharing lots more with you then. Thank you.
Thank you.